Hello there again, everyone. I hope everyone is sleeping off their Christmas party hangover. I'm pretty sure that most people have got drunk last night or the night before. But there is important stuff to focus on still. Where we're at today, it's the 17th of December. There's a week to go until the end of the consultation survey. So once again, if you haven't done it already, fill it in, make your views known, tell other people to do so. I thought today I just wanted to go back over the original brochure that the GCP published, because I think it is worth actually having another look at that now with more knowledgeable eyes, as we have learned more in the recent days. So let's go back over what they published in the autumn of 2022. Here we have a cross-section of society enjoying their journey on this wonderful bus. Isn't it such a joy to get the bus everywhere? Yes, it is. Right, I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm just going to pull out some key bits, because if you actually read the language, you get a good insight and understanding of really what is actually happening, the mentality that has gone into making this whole scheme. Congestion is clogging up our roads, making journeys slow and unreliable, and contributing to poor air quality and higher carbon emissions. A lot of these points have already been refuted multiple times, and a lot of the facts and figures in this brochure have also been debunked, as we saw before, by the Newnham number cruncher, who heroically debunked a lot of these statistics. That's not to say that he is absolutely correct, but debunking a statistic just calls the whole thing into question and makes you wonder, well, if that one is wrong, then what else is wrong in here? Where did they get these numbers from? Who knows? So we're understanding Cambridge is a growing city, 35,000 more residents in 2021 than 2011. It is a growing town, lots more houses, lots more vehicles, etc. So this is a long-term scheme to upgrade the roads in Cambridge. Nobody is disagreeing with that general aim. From mid-2023, we are proposing to transform the bus network through new routes, additional services, cheaper fares and longer operating hours, and investing in other sustainable schemes by creating a sustainable travel zone. Now, this is the controversial point. So in order to achieve these two objectives, this is necessary. We are proposing the introduction of a sustainable travel zone in the form of a road user charge. Vehicles would be charged for driving within the zone between 7 and 7 on weekdays, and money raised would fund improvements to the bus network and other schemes. The zone would be fully operational in 27 to 28, with a gradual introduction starting in 2025, but only once the first bus improvements are introduced. So here's the challenge that they lay out. Congestion in Greater Cambridge is among the worst in the UK. Now, that is a point which has already been clearly refuted. Actually, the Cambridge is not high up on the list of congestion in the UK. And as we have already experienced, everybody knows, the congestion is mainly caused by roadworks and narrowing of lanes and temporary traffic lights and things like that. Congestion does get bad here for a few hours in the day, but it is not as bad as they're making it out. Now, they're expecting, obviously, the city to continue to grow by 2031, a 28% population growth, 33,000 more homes. So yes, something is going to have to be addressed here to, accommodate for these people and upgrade the infrastructure. Now then, climate emergency. So this is part of that commitment that the country has signed up to, the COP27 thing, to bring down all of the CO2 emissions and things like that by transforming the way that the country is structured and managed. There's a public health crisis, they say. Now, here we are. In a 2018 study, drivers in Cambridge spent an average of 23 days stuck in peak traffic. For London, this was 12 days. Well, remember what the man from Newnham said. Actually, Cambridge isn't even on the list of cities where people lose that much. And these statistics have been refuted. And then there's another one there, look, 121 deaths in Greater Cambridge attributed to air pollution. Once again, that was a number which was refuted. There was a little bit of a back and forth between the Newnham number cruncher and Peter Blake at the meeting. So Peter said that that number was based on the Greater Cambridge area, not the Cambridge city. And my question, the number for the city was 40-something. 48, I think he said, not 121. The answer to that was that they're not talking about the city, they're talking about Greater Cambridge. Now, my question to that is that if you're talking about having a sustainable travel zone in the city, why would you use the number for the Greater Cambridge area in your stats? Because that isn't going to be addressed by a sustainable travel zone just in the city. It's not actually going to do anything for the Greater Cambridge area, so why include that number there? Now, this is where it starts to get interesting, because it says what you told us. Okay? I didn't tell them anything. Did you? I don't remember this. I must have missed it. In autumn 2021, almost 2,500 people responded to the first Making Connections consultations on proposals to improve the bus network. This feedback, summarised on the right, has been used to inform the proposed Making Connections package. That's what we're looking at now. In 2019, people gave their views on similar issues in the Choices for Better Journeys consultation. That year, we also held a citizens' assembly. Again, I must have missed that. I don't know where I was. Did you know about that? The citizens' assembly? Is there a record of that? Is there a video existing? It sounds like it would have been quite an interesting event. That looked at public transport congestion and air quality. This followed our big conversation. Did we have a big conversation? I don't remember. It was in 2018. I must have missed it again. I was very busy in 2018. So, once again, I didn't hear that big conversation. We found then that people wanted affordable, clean and practical transport solutions that can offer an alternative to car use. Okay, that's fair enough. Here we go. During the 2021 Making Connections consultation, we found that 78% supported proposals to create a bus network with cheaper, faster, more frequent services. 71% supported the overall aims of reducing carbon emissions, tackling pollution and congestion. 68% supported reduced traffic to improve walking and cycling options. 52% supported reducing traffic to improve public spaces. Okay, so they have created the appearance of public support, which has created for them a kind of mandate, I suppose, or a pseudo-mandate, a fake mandate, I suppose you might want to call it. It isn't technically a properly legitimate, democratically created mandate where they've stated their actual goals and provided all the information. Notice how none of these points here in the 2021 survey include charging people to drive around the city. I wonder what the results of that would have been if they had been asked. So here's the timeline. 2018, our big conversation. It must have been pretty quiet, actually, because I don't remember it. Maybe other people who were involved in that big conversation can tell me if I'm wrong. Did that happen? Does anybody remember it? In 2019, they had a consultation and a citizens' assembly, apparently. Oh, look at this gap here. What was going on in 2020 and 21? I don't remember. Something going on in this period of time that meant that there was no activity. Something very big and important and life-changing. And now here we are in 2021. Last year, they had the first consultation. I missed that one, unfortunately. And now here we are in 2022, this consultation. And this is where we are shown the plans for the controversial Sustainable Travel Zone, which is their method of funding all of this. So they have created the appearance of a support where they can say 78% of people told us that they're in favour of it. So we want to do this, we've got to do this, we're going to do this. Now, in order to do that, they need to create a sustainable travel scheme. No, sustainable travel zone. Here we go. So I've just run through these previous pages. Everything that's going to be done, all of these areas on the map are going to be linked up by bus. lots of bus lanes. They have said that these are not set in stone, and at any point these can be added to or changed in the future, because that's part of the benefit of having a locally franchised bus service, which the council can kind of organise and design and control, rather than private bus companies like Stagecoach, who just do the most profitable routes. But obviously, looking at this map, anyone can show you all of these streets here would require a walk or a bike to the local bus stop, and then you'd have to get on the bus, and then you'd go here, here and here, and then get off the bus and walk. That's all very well and good if you're able-bodied, but this is one of the main important points here, is that this would severely impact people who cannot for any reason get the bus. And also, you understand in life, the majority of any kind of errand or action or activity has to be undergone on the road using a van or a car or something like that. You can't get the bus everywhere. It's just never going to happen. You can't cycle everywhere. It won't work for a lot of activity. So a lot of the activity is going to be caught up in this road user charge, which we'll look at in more detail just here. Why are we proposing a sustainable travel zone? We have thoroughly assessed a range of options to raise the money needed. This assessment has been supported by feedback from public engagement and consultation over the last 5 years. The assessment showed that higher parking charges or the introduction of a workplace parking levy would not reduce traffic levels sufficiently to meet the objectives. So that was an idea that they floated, and they realised it probably wouldn't do that much, so we're not going to go with that idea. A road user charge would provide a greater reduction in traffic and congestion and offer road users more reliable journey times. Road charging options were more preferred than parking charges. Charging all vehicles, rather than just the most polluting vehicles, would have the greatest benefits. A pollution charge was also considered, but this had limited benefits, as more people are expected to buy electric cars over time, and so traffic levels would increase, and the income to spend on the bus would decrease. So basically what they're saying is this one wouldn't return as much revenue, or the revenue needed, and it would diminish over time. So that one won't work. The timing of the charge was also looked at. Charging only at the morning peak, even with a £10 charge, would be unlikely to meet the objectives. So basically they're saying it wouldn't make enough money. And this was one of the questions raised at the meeting the other day. Why not have a charge just for peak times, like 7 till 9:30 or something like that? Well, the answer's here. They did consider it, but it wouldn't make as much money. It wouldn't create the necessary levels of funding to transform the bus network and reduce traffic. The timing of the charge will remain subject to review. Here's the zone. Now look at that. That's the thing that terrifies everybody. This is like a big dome being put down over Cambridge, similar to that dome that they put down on Springfield in the Simpsons movie. It's just like here. Poof, now you're in it. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing that you can do to stop it unless you move out, leave Cambridge, leave it for us, rich people, to go around as much as we want. You know, a nice, clean, safe atmosphere without pesky drivers all over the place. The proposed zone reflects the urban area of Cambridge, covering the area shown on the left. This area reflects the preference of respondents to the 21 survey. That's the survey which hardly anybody took part in, who favoured a lower charge over a wider area, as opposed to a smaller area with a higher charge. But technical work also showed that a smaller area would not reduce traffic enough or raise adequate money. So this is the area that they've gone with, because that is their way of creating the necessary revenue stream which is going to fund this long-term project. £50 million every year they want to spend. There would be no physical boundary. It's not like there's going to be a big gate on the edge of Cambridge. It's just going to be like the London congestion charge, automatic cameras everywhere, reading your number plate as you go in and out, and then you will get pinged a bill. You probably have to set up some kind of account. Maybe you pay monthly or something like that, or pay as you go. I don't know. It's just a very troubling, depressing prospect indeed. So, where are we at here? Okay, here's the outline of the time scale of all of this. In mid-23, we would begin the bus improvements. In 24, lower fares would be introduced. Between 25 and 27, the improvements would continue. In 2025, larger vehicles, HGVs, that's heavy goods vehicles, light goods vehicles, and coaches could start paying between peak times, 7 till 10 on weekdays. In 2026, all vehicles would be charged that, between 7 and 10, and in 2027 to 28, the full sustainable travel zone could be implemented, operating between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And your doom will have been achieved. A small majority of the respondents to the 21 consultation favoured a charge for peak period journeys only. Now, this is a small majority of, how many was it? 2,500 people. Almost 2,500 people. So a small majority of that, you'd have to be having 1,250 minimum people to make a small majority of that. So basically 1,250 people said that they were in favour of this, and now that number of people, that number of respondents to an unadvertised, little known survey in which people didn't really understand fully what they were being presented with, told them that they were in favour, and so that is the mandate that they are building this whole package upon. 1,250 people. A small majority favoured a charge for peak period journeys only, but subsequent technical work found that this would not raise enough revenue to support major improvements to the bus network and would cause congestion at other times of the day. So we're just going to go for the whole thing, £5 between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Alright. The charge would apply to all vehicles, unless they are exempt, that move into, out of, or within the zone, not just those crossing the boundary. This is because 53% of journeys in the morning peak start within the zone. Over a third of these journeys are wholly within the zone, which are shorter and so are easier to make by foot, like bike or bus, than those coming from further away. A network of automatic number plate recognition cameras would be placed across the zone to capture images of vehicles' registration plates. Registration plate images would then be processed to work out if a charge applies. In line with existing schemes such as Dartford Bridge, payment could be made in advance or later via an account, online or over the phone. As per usual traffic enforcement practices, penalty charge notices would be issued. Where payments are not received, there would be an appeals process. So this is basically exactly the same as getting a parking ticket today. There's a suite of discounts and exemptions and reimbursements proposed, which you can see here. I'm not going to go into all these details. It is just very, very, like I said, just a very depressing prospect indeed. Light goods vehicles, £10 per day. I drive a light goods vehicle. I drive a van for work. I use it most days. I'm using it all the time. I really couldn't do without it. Actually, that van got me through the pandemic, to be honest with you, because so much collapsed in our business in town. I had to start doing all the driving myself, and having a van for a business is absolutely essential. You really can't get away without one. I mean, you either have one yourself or you have to hire one or pay other drivers to do the jobs for you, but you can't really run a business without a light goods vehicle at least. So yeah, this is going to be pretty costly for us. And that's only me talking about my own point of view. I mean, other people would have it even harder. Just the £5 a day would hit people. £5 a day, somebody worked out. If you work full time, which is 5 days a week, 48 weeks a year, and you drive every one of those, the cost annually would be like £1,200. And if you're on minimum wage, that is going to be roughly 10% of your whole annual income is going to be spent on this congestion charge. A whole tenth of income that is already being squeezed from every area of life at the moment. That is just so punitive and unaffordable. I can't understand who came up with this idea and how they thought it would ever float. I don't know how anybody thought that this could be accepted or acceptable. Anyway, moving on. So here's the exemptions list. Once again, you're going to have to make yourself exempt. You're going to have to apply to become exempt. Although there is a line here which confuses me a little bit. It says exemptions are applied automatically without the need to register your details. So how would you become exempt without registering yourself? If it's not going to be automatic, is it? Surely you're going to have to register somehow. There's going to have to be some kind of appraisal scheme or some kind of means testing or looking at your income. One of the categories is people on low incomes. Tapered discount. So basically they're going to look at your income and they're going to decide how much you can afford to pay and how much you should have to pay, and then you'll be given your discount. God. And then a reimbursement is not quite a discount. Basically all of these categories here: NHS patients, NHS staff, emergency vehicles, essential emergency services, social care and charity working, minibuses and stuff, are going to have to pay anyway, but then they'll get the money back later. So you're going to be creating this revenue stream, whether you like it or not. You're going to be paying. You will get reimbursed at a later time. You're going to have to apply for the reimbursement. You're going to have to register it. You're going to have to wait for it to come through. What a headache this is going to create for people. This is the thing that people don't want. This is not to say that we don't support, as they say. We don't not want to achieve these goals. But we want it to be done in a way which is fair for everybody. You can't just divide society in this way. This is a blanket tax on movement. It definitely is going to impact some people severely and not affect others. It's not fair. I can't understand how this came up with this. And to think that this is a project which is being supported by Labour. The Labour Party are behind this. It's unfathomable. What has happened to the world? It's turned completely upside down. Liberal Democrats. This is not liberal or democratic. Labour for the many and not the few. No way. Where's all of that gone? Now you've got lifelong Labour voters are going to vote Tory over this. It's just insane. What's happened? That's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. There is an election coming up in May which needs to be used to thwart this project. People need to vote out the councillors who are doing this. Now, this is the point I'm making in this video. The reason I'm making this video today is because I put this post up on Facebook yesterday because I was just doing it quickly. There's a little bit of confusion here. So there's the timeline, right? In 2022, that's where we are. It ends in December. And then look at 2023. They're going to start the improvements. In 2024, they're introducing the lower fares, and then they've got it all mapped out over the next 4 years, right? So it doesn't really seem like they're not going to do this. It seems like they are going to do it, but they're doing this consultation thing so that they can tweak it a bit and say that they listened. But now, look at this bit here. In 2023, that's next year, it looks like it's pointing somewhere around May, interestingly enough. I don't know if that is an actual chronological accurate timeline or if it's just around then. Cambridgeshire County Council final decision. Look at that. The final decision is going to be made by the county council next year. By the looks of things, around May. And this is the reason I made this video, because on that post yesterday that I put up, there's been quite a lot of people saying the similar sort of thing. We don't actually know, and I sent a message over to the GCP asking this. I haven't had the response yet. When I get it, I'll share it with you. I said, if this final decision is going to be made before the election, that means how are we going to look at the results of the consultation survey, analyse the consultation survey results before that decision is made? Because I was told that the results are expected to be published in the middle of 2023. But that means we can't look at the results before the election and before the final decision is made. So that's a point which I've raised. We need to know, we need to understand exactly how and when this is going to take place. So that was my question. Now, there are a few comments down here. I'll just see if I can find it. Consultation period evidently needed to be far longer. Interestingly, the head of communications for the GCP repeatedly said there is no timeline to the vote. Within minutes, his colleagues said it would be July. So again, there's just confusion here. There was one more comment which I can't find now. But it was somebody saying, let me just pause this a second. Ras Haythorne, councillor in Histington, just categorically told me it won't be voted on before any elections in May. Okay, fine. And then there's Neil Hargreaves here. Major decisions are not permitted to be voted on in the run-up to an election. But these are distinct elections, and I presume being highways, this is a county decision. However, clearly driven locally, as just for Cambridge, so district councils will have influence. Looks like the city council has no election in 2023. Oh, great. And then there's one more. I'll just read it to you. Jill Allen. They have already set it up in the recent council meeting that because there are so many responses to the consultation, they can't possibly report the outcome until after. This entirely feeds in for them to fence it during the election campaigns by saying they will wait for the outcome. They did that the other day at the meeting. We were saying, what are you going to do if this? They say, it's still ongoing. We're not going to answer hypotheticals. So that's probably going to be the line during this election campaign. This entirely feeds in for them to fence it during election campaigns by saying that they will wait for the outcome of the consultation to decide how to vote. Personally, I feel they aren't prepared to say what their views are prior to the election. I would not trust that they will vote the way the majority of their constituents may indicate and wish them to. Yes, this is the worry. So let's go back over to here. Here we have the timeline. This is what this video is mainly about. All of that waffling, going through these pages here. It was necessary for me to just review where we're at, have another little look over this brochure. Now that we understand a little bit more about it, what we're looking at is the end of the consultation next week, right? And then they're going to collate all the evidence or collate all the responses to the consultation, and I should think there's a lot. And then we have an election run coming up in May. That's something which I still don't really understand all of the ins and outs of, because county councils, city councils, local councils, the elections can be a little bit complicated. But I suggest that everybody research and learn as quickly as they can who their councillors are, which are up for elections, and which candidates think what about which issues. All right, so we are looking at 4 months from now, 5 months from now, we're going to start this election cycle in which this is going to be the main topic. This is what it's going to be all about, the congestion charge. Can we stop this scheme from happening? Because by the looks of things, they already have got this all plotted out and planned out, and they're in way too deep to turn back now. They've already put all their cards on the table. They're all in. It's all or nothing. You know, at this point, it seems like it's going ahead, and the best we can hope for is it to be slightly changed. But overall, this thing is likely to take place. But what I'm saying is, for now, we really have to start looking forward to the elections in next May. Find out who your councillors are, find out what they think, see what other candidates are on the ballot, and get ready to cast your vote in May, ladies and gentlemen. And also carry on with the persistent messages, calling out all of the inconsistencies, calling out the undemocratic nature of this, calling out the facts, checking all of the facts and checking all the statistics. Keep it up, keep up the good work, carry on talking about it. And then now this is the final point that I just want to end this one on. There was a post this morning that I've lost now, and somebody asked a very important question. How many people in this group are under the age of 25? Not many, and the comment was made, which is actually the under 25 age group don't really use Facebook. They're using TikTok and Instagram and things like that. So I would suggest to everybody who is concerned in this group to start reaching out to the youngers. Start asking the youngsters what they think, reach out to them, talk to them, show them the literature, because it's possible that most of them aren't even aware that this is happening because they're into so many other things. They've got their faces glued to their smartphones, they're into TikTok land, they've got their headphones stuck in. They basically don't hook up to local issues the same way that older people do. So over Christmas, around your Christmas tables, talk about this to all the young people. See what they think of it. Get them to put their minds, because there are some incredibly smart young people around. If they get their head into this, and if they start firing off their TikToks and their Instagrams, and if they could get something moving, then we might actually see this thing grow even bigger than it already is. Also, one last final point. I know I said that one was my last one, but this is my last one. There was a suggestion on the group that maybe another march is in order, maybe another rally. I think that's a good idea. We just need to pick a date, go down to Parker's Peace or wherever, and do another march. It would be even bigger than the last one, I should think. But yeah, that sort of thing needs to happen. So let's carry on going, everybody. Keep going about our ways. Keep looking at the facts and the evidence, sending off the emails, asking the questions. Keep the conversation going. And hopefully we can arrive at an outcome which is beneficial for everybody, and not this extremely divisive and punitive tax on movement that they're proposing to put forward. We need to figure out some other way of funding our bus improvements than basically just stealing money from ordinary common folk as they go about their business. Thank you very much for listening, if you made it all of this way. Just before I sign out, I feel minded to just say this thing is moving very, very fast, and there's new information coming out all the time, and I can't physically make videos quick enough to keep up with it all. So I tried to make my videos as comprehensive as I can, but I can't possibly include everything, obviously. I have a job, family, friends, all that stuff. Christmas is coming up, so I do my best, but I can't possibly capture everything. I just want to basically keep up with it all, and more than anything, educate myself and present what I learn for the benefit of others who are also interested. Okay, so I will post again soon, and keep it up, everybody. Merry Christmas.